Following the death of Muhammad, Islam is going to expand even more. It's going to expand into northern Africa, and it's going to extend actually into Europe as well. And the question is, the big question with the movement is, when your leader dies, how is the movement going to continue? Who is going to take over? Who's going to take the lead, essentially? So we're talking about how Islam expands and how they deal with some of these issues of becoming, they are a religion, but they're also associated with running a government as well. I mean, they're those two things combined. So those present a separate set of issues at times. So like I said, the big question is, who is going to take over, or what is going to take over after Muhammad? And one thing that provided a lot of guidance to people is the Sharia, which translates essentially to the way. Sharia means the way. Part of Sharia involves reading the Quran. So the words from Muhammad, that makes sense. So you're going to go and that will provide some guidance, the Quran. And then you also have some stuff that's not the Quran itself, but related to the final prophet Muhammad. You have the Hadith and the Sunnah. The Hadith are stuff that he said that are attributed to Muhammad, but not part of the Quran. They're not attributed to God saying it. And the Sunnah are the stuff that he did. So Hadith are the sayings, and the Sunnah are the acts. So the idea basically is, if you want to be a Muslim, the formula is it's kind of, I'm simplifying it a bit there, but you'll get the idea. If you want to be a Muslim, you follow the 5 pillars, you follow Sharia. The parts of Sharia include the Quran, the Hadith, and the Sunnah. That's basically what provides a uniting influence to the Muslims. It's a fairly simple, straightforward way to think about it. Now, there's a title of people basically that are these kings or rulers after Muhammad, and the word is caliph or caliph. You may have heard it before. You need to know the idea of who these caliphs were, where they came from, and eventually why it got controversial. So the first caliph is Abu Bakr. He's Muhammad's father-in-law, and he begins to go and spread the empire. He fights the Byzantine Empire, Persia, and conquer other tribes. Then the second caliph, he goes and he's dead, is Omar. He becomes caliph. He's also Muhammad's father-in-law. Got to think about how that happened. He's obviously polygamy. Then he goes and extends the empire into northern Africa and Asia. The third caliph is Uthman, who's Muhammad's son-in-law. He's basically a weak ruler, and he's murdered in some form of a power struggle. And then Mr. Ali comes. Ali has to go and mix it up. Now, Ali is Muhammad's cousin. Now, thinking back to the relationships of the first 3 caliphs to Muhammad, the relationship of cousin is a bit different. It is a blood relative. And some people are going to go and say, Ali, he is not the 4th caliph, he's the 1st caliph. He's the only one that's actually related to Muhammad. These other ones are fathers-in-law or son-in-law. In-law does not imply blood, right? So some people are going to go with Ali. Some are going to go with the other caliphs. And that becomes the source of the Sunni Shia split. And Ali goes and he gets murdered himself in a power struggle. You'll see, if you actually look at the Shahada, there's a difference from the Shia Shahada and the Sunni Shahada. The Shia Shahada says there's no God but Allah, Muhammad is the messengers of Allah, Ali is the friend of Allah, the successor. So they kind of throw the Booyah in there, the Ali. So the Shia believe in Ali, the Sunni Shahada does not have that, obviously. Now the split of Sunni versus Shia, like I said, the belief of the Shia initially starts with that they have to be part of the bloodline. And, just in terms of modern demographics, the world is mostly Sunni today. Only a few countries, have a majority Shia population. But obviously 10 to 15% or 90 to 85% are Sunni. But the idea here is this is a source of conflict. And, obviously it's been passed down since the ages till today. So there's obviously differences and there's been a lot of hurt between these two sides. But understanding the source of the split is, politically, who do they support? Do they support the initial caliphs or do they support Ali? This map gives you a sense of the Sunni and Shia kind of concentration all over the world. And I'll let you give a big guess what country that is. That has the majority Shia. Like I said, they extend quite rapidly, and if you take a look, you can see Islam. Okay, so here's the Islamic world under Muhammad, is this region right here. I'll change colors. And then the first 4 caliphs go and add this orange territory, so not too shabby. And then they have these different dynasties. These are the Umayyad, and they're basically named after the families. They're going to go and add this purple. So, I mean, and they're stopped up there in Spain. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but it extends quick. I mean, it's fast. And there's another kind of shot. You can pause that, take a look. Now, how do they rule their empire? It actually says in the Quran, let there be no compulsion in religion, meaning you can't force anybody to become a Muslim. Well, some areas actually want the Muslims to be in control of them because their tax rates are actually lower than the Byzantines. They showed tolerance to Jews and Christians. They're called people of the book, meaning there is Muhammad in the Quran. It basically states that these people are to be respected. With that said, they did have to pay a form of a tax, and sometimes they were encouraged to leave the city, but they weren't exactly like murdered for their beliefs at that time. What do? They kind of rule in the Persian style, and they allow people that they take over to kind of continue your own units as long as you're just paying it to the caliph. We're all fine. So the Islamic Empire extends quite rapidly. We talked about how the Sharia provided the basis, at least religiously, for them, and then the caliphs provided that system, and then a bit more about how they ruled.